people presented the argument that we look more complete without Barry Bannon. I disagree, in fairness. I want to say that straight out there. But it is nice to know that we can still...
I will say we need to learn to win without Barry Bannon. And if this is a good
But that's an example of it. Do you know what I mean? Byers in that midfield. Let's move on then to the Fizz talk then. Because I can see it a lot in the chat as well. Do you cash in? There's AC Milan interest probably, which is an agent talk, obviously.
I think it's all agent talk, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they're still trying to get the best deal. My issue
he seems fairly keen to sign a contract. I think the agent's pushing him the other way.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, when Fizz came in originally, I think he sacked his agent to get it done because there was something going on. If I remember correctly. The thing is, there's a lad here who just wants to concentrate on his football. He's said that time and time again. Any talks are between agent and club. Now, the problem is we still want to massively sign him. The problem I got is I think he's being dragged into the involvement with the talk, which is not letting him concentrate on his football. Because the game where he looks superb, he dropped off completely since he got talked about. He could go here, there, and everywhere. His form had dropped off massively. He's a good sub to bring on. I just don't think he's a first teamer yet because he's very good at going forward, but defensively, he's poor. And I think that's where we struggle, and the passing. But if we can turn him into the player that we can see that's starting to develop, he would be superb. And
I actually think it's one of those situations where he will be better off staying. And I'm not saying that from a Wednesday perspective. Darren Moore seems to be developing him properly.
Yeah.
The one thing I don't want, though, I kind of want him to just sign the contract because it'll get some of the fans off his back.
I think that's probably what he needs.
Because what's twisting things now is the fans are sort of going, well, if you don't want to be here, what's the point? You know? And it's not necessarily that's the situation. I think the best thing for him is to sign the contract and continue his development because he's 21 years old.
He's still saying that he wants to stay at the club. It come out, I think Joe Cran did a piece today saying the club still want to tie him down and he wants to see out the end of this season and see what happens. Now, I've seen people go, oh, he wants a promotion bonus or whatever. There's a player there that just wants to play football. He's never, ever once come out and said he wants to leave. He never,
in fairness, Punk, no, not a lot of players do. It's back talk.
They don't, but he's always said it between agent and stuff, and I just keep myself out of it. I think there's an opportunity for where if they want him, but don't, it's does scream a little bit of George Hurst again, but I think the club are in that kind of position where they're like, we're not going to be over the barrel on this. If you actually want to stay and we want to develop it, brilliant. Granted, Darren Moore said he never wanted this to happen again after what happened with Liam Shaw. By the way, how's that going? How Morecambe, mate? Little dig. But the thing is, we have to get better at signing players on contract and not letting them do this. And we thought we had this done. But when you look at what we got running out of contract at the end of the season, there's a lot of good players. But it's more the youth side I think we need to start tying down to proper 4-year contracts. The moment they get to the second year of a 4-year contract, see where they are, extend it then. We shouldn't be going to the last end of someone's contract trying to do it.
I will say again, that's the ideal thing, isn't it? But football, again, doesn't work like that anymore, not at this level. It just isn't. I don't think it's ever really worked like that. When you're in League One level, the only thing we've got on our side is our history and a positive manager, which is why for ages I was like, why is the negativity around Darren Moore? Because I think it's a very short-sighted view to have the negativity around Darren Moore when it's the first time we've been positive in quite a few years. Probably since the Bruce left.
Yeah.
You know, where before Bruce left, there was positivity around the club, and then it just tanked. It's the first time we've got that part, which is why I would have given him time anyway. And the fact is, we're second. Are we still second? Or has there been other fixtures since?
I think we are still second because it was in FA Cup game as well.
Yeah. People... Uncle Boris, like, for example, says, after watching Saturday, do you think we should catch... do you all think how much we could get for... I'll read that again. What do you think of how much we could get for Dele if we tried to cash in? I think you'd probably get, like, pittance at the minute because clubs could pick him up. I reckon you'd get less than 500k for him. So
we
it
had
probably would.
$1 million or so from Blackpool in the summer. And it's one of these things where you wonder if that was a smart move to keep him or not. Granted, we would have had $1 million in the bank, but then would we still be like going, do we miss him? Because at that point, we weren't really playing him. He had a really good breakout August, September, and then it kind of went off a little bit. And that's a mixture of injury and trying to get ahead of people in the squad. I think for Dele, if Dele signs the contract and we get it all sorted, then great. The issue is, I think there's a lot of clubs who are keeping an eye on big profile, AC Milan, PSV. Now, that sounds agent talk, but you never know with these things. Nowadays, there are players that will go to things. But I think the issue you've got is that you have to be very smart with how the player does. And if he doesn't sign a new contract, don't have a go at the player, because at the end of the day, it's football. It happens.
Leave that to us.
Yeah.
On breakout topics. No, but yeah, I know what you're saying. I can see people saying, does he seem disinterested, that sort of thing. I think we're just making a mountain out of it at the minute. We'll see what happens. We heard a few months ago he was keen to sign a new contract. So it might have changed, and it possibly has changed because he hasn't signed a contract. But with an agent in your ear and you're a young player at 21 with that much potential, we talk about, you spoke a little bit about him going back, tracking back there, but you could technically just play him as a cam and then you wouldn't have to worry about that so much. Exactly. So there is that side of his game as well. I
think Barry Bannon's comment was interesting when he'd been grilled about, said, why would you want to leave? We've seen players leave in the past and it's not worked. It's like, I'd rather him stay here with development. And I think Barry Bannon's a good mentor to have him. Will Volks is a good mentor around him. We got a lot of good midfielders with young players around them who can teach them their trade. And
I think he's got a heavy sell-on fee as well. I know Jez has asked that in the chat. I think he does have quite a heavy one.
Man City have got a massive sell-on fee on him.
I don't know what it is exactly, but I remember it being reported when he was
15-20%.
Oh, right, okay. I thought it was about 25, 30, but I can't remember. I thought it was a bit more than that. That's not too bad. It's not great, is it?
No.
But yeah, there's quite a chunk on that. So it's just one of those that you're going to have to sit on and see. But the grass isn't greener. We've learned that the grass isn't greener.
Yeah.
So stick around. And he's staying for the rest of the season anyway. He said that.
He doesn't want to leave.
Unless we find out he's signed a pre-contract. But, you know.